Hello, my name is Trace Gutierrez, Director of Crop Protection Procurement for Mid-Kansas Co-op, Midwest Fertilizer, and FarmCan. And with me today, I have Eric Hansen with Winfield United, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about micronutrients. So Eric, tell me, how can we make micronutrients, response a little more predictable out there in the field, when we're talking about soybeans, corn, maybe even cotton, wheat, and so on?
You bet. Well, in order to improve our response rate or to get a positive return on investment for our grower, there's a couple boxes that we really need to check on that. For one, we need to understand that not all crops respond to the same micronutrients as other crops. So we need to make sure that we've got a crop that is sensitive to that micronutrient, but beyond that, within different timings of the growth and development of that crop, it may be more or less sensitive or more or less responsive to a micronutrient than in other timings. So dialing in, knowing what crops are responsive to different micronutrients and at what times they are responsive is a real key piece of that. Beyond that, if we're not deficient in a micronutrient or in a nutrient in general, then we really shouldn't expect to see response out of that. So in order to determine whether or not that crop is deficient, we really lean on our tissue samples to tell us that. And we don't necessarily have to go out and tissue sample every field in order to understand that. Within Winfield United and MKC, we've got a 14-year-old database of tissue sample trends that we can see by crop, by growth stage. And so we can identify some nutrients that tend to show up deficient more often than not. And if we use zinc and boron as an example of that, when we look at corn in that V5 time frame, we have a high percentage of our tissue samples in corn that come back deficient in both zinc and boron. Consequently, corn is highly responsive to both zinc and boron during those stages as well. So that's a perfect opportunity to get a product in like a Max-In Ultra ZMB Plus to address some of those issues that are fairly common. As we look at other crops, soybeans, for instance, manganese and potassium are probably the two nutrients that come back short on that. Manganese is one of the only micronutrients that really soybeans are responsive to in the vegetative stages. Once we get to reproductive stages, then a whole host of different nutrients become more responsive in soybeans. As we think about cotton, things like potassium are a big deal for cotton. So as we identify different crops and different nutrients that they respond well to, and then identify those different timings, kind of the third leg of that is making sure that we're getting that nutrient in the plant. Mm-hmm. And whether we're talking about chelation materials for soil applied or in-furrow products to help protect that nutrient, to keep it from getting tied up with other nutrients or tied up in the soil so that it's plant available, or we're talking about a foliar application of things like our Max-In products that have a technology to help drive better absorption into that, getting that nutrient into the plant is kind of the final leg on that. So if we can check all three of those boxes, we can really improve our predictability of having a positive response out of micronutrients here in Kansas on a lot of our crops.
That's fantastic, Eric. Greatly appreciate you coming here and shooting this video with us today. For those of you at home, I'd encourage you to reach out to your strategic account manager and talk to them about the technology that we have to offer in the micronutrients package. So thank you.